Hello. Welcome to 70 Years, 70 Muppets, a Muppet fan podcast presented by ToughPigs.com. This is the podcast where we celebrate the Muppets' 70th anniversary with 70 straight weeks of spotlights on our favorite Muppet characters, from the most popular to the most obscure. I am this week's host, Louie Pearlman, and the Muppet of the Week is Robin the Frog, performed initially by Jerry Nelson, designed by Jim Henson, and originally built by Don Solon, making his world debut in 1971. Today's episode features an enlightening chat with the hosts of the Muppeturgy podcast. But before that, here are a few words about Robin. Robin started as the prince turned into a frog for the Muppet special The Frog Prince. But it took season 2 of The Muppet Show to establish Robin as Kermit's nephew, and to give him his distinctly childlike yet mischievous personality that we know and love today. Like many of the Muppets, Robin is a multi-hyphenate. He even had a hit song in the UK with his version of the A.A. Milne classic, Halfway Down the Stairs. It was also on the back of the original Muppet Show cast album, which contained Halfway Down the Stairs, that he was first listed as being Kermit's nephew. The song remains a character highlight. Also notable is Robin's version of the Beatles' Octopus's Garden, his stirring Christmas appearances on Fallon, and all of the times he appeared with his extreme opposite, Sweetums, a massive monster of a Muppet, to great comedic success. Why do we love Robin? I can only speak for myself here. Robin can be self-doubting and meek, but also mischievous, bold, and hyperactive when needed, just like a real kid. When I was growing up, I identified with Robin. I was the smallest kid in my class, and I often felt I went unnoticed by my teachers and peers. Robin speaks to that small part of us that never truly disappears and just wants to be seen. Next is my chat with the hosts of Muppeturgy. We discuss what makes Robin tick, or croak as it were, and why Jerry Nelson rocks so hard. All right, so for this next segment, I am joined by the members of the Muppeturgy podcast. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, buddy.
Oh my gosh, perfect. Okay, so we're joined by Adam Grosswirth,
Hello.
Michal Richardson,
Hello.
David Levy,
Hello.
and Christie Baugher.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, so we're talking about Robin the Frog, who's great. My first question about Robin that I've been thinking about lately that I think is interesting is he is a character that had a lot of potential to be annoying because he is basically a mini version of Kermit the Frog, right? And there's a way that they could have over-cutesified him. But I think Robin as a character has a lot of integrity. And I'm wondering, why do we think that is? Where's that line and how does that work so well for the character? And if you think he's annoying, that's okay.
I think he gets a bad rap. I think a lot of people think he's annoying, and a thing that has happened to me very quickly in rewatching The Muppet Show and having a podcast about it is I love Robin, and I think I did from his first appearance on The Muppet Show at my advanced age anyway. I don't remember what I thought of him as a child, because he is really cute, and he is really sweet, and that works in his favor. He's also kind of a sassy little bitch.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. And so there's a balance there that he can do halfway down the stairs and be a little bit treacly, but pull it off because he looks the way he looks, and then can also be a sassy little bitch and pull that off because he looks the way he looks.
But he's so sincere about it. Like, if he's trolling somebody, then he's very conniving about it, because you never get that he's trying to prank anybody. He's always very earnest.
I think, too, that a lot of that balance is struck both by the performance, which is so carefully calibrated. Like, there is a vulnerability in the voice itself that makes you want to take care of Robin. I mean, it's the reason that he was, cast as Tiny Tim in Muppet Christmas Carol. There is I mean, sickly is not the word, but there is a very vulnerable is the word I keep coming back to, quality to him. And I think it's in the writing too. I think, I think about, with regards to Muppets and age in particular, like, you know, like the how thoughtfully, like, say the Sesame Muppets are mapped to particular age ranges. And I think that that's true of Robin. I think Robin reads very clearly and very carefully as a child in an authentic way. And I think that's why he's not annoying to me anyway.
And I would say because he is an authentic child, sometimes he is annoying, and that's okay because sometimes even the best children are annoying. And annoying might not be the right word, but I think among this group, I have the reputation of being a Robin hater, and I'm not a Robin hater, but I have less patience for when Robin is trotted out to be sickly sweet. Halfway down the stairs is fine, but then when they try to recapture that magic with some later performances, it rubs me the wrong way. Perhaps because I do so appreciate when he has a little more of an attitude and has a little more character, that I feel like it's selling him short to just, stick him in a pond and have him sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Like, come on, Robin, you're more multi-layered than that.
And just to add on to that, the multi-layered aspect, to allow a young character to have a variety of thoughts and feelings, and to allow them to somewhat be a little acerbic is interesting. But this is not a character that has a lot of tude. And I think that that's kind of at the heart of what makes Robin interesting, is that he is allowed to do that without that being his defining factor.
There's a real testament to Jerry Nelson as a puppeteer as well. I think it's not a puppet that can do a lot, right? It's very tiny, even relative to other hand puppet Muppets. But he's able to get so many facial expressions and reactions out of him. There's a moment in season 4, and I forget which episode it was, where he tells a really dumb joke and then kind of looks at the camera and does a little dance. And there's just so much happening there with very little as far as, what the puppet can do physically, and he gets so much out of it.
Well, Adam, great segue into my next question.
Like I did it on purpose.
Yeah. Which is, what do we think Jerry Nelson brings to the portrayal of Robin, and why is this such a classic Jerry Nelson character?
Oh no, I said the only thing I had.
I think the thing about Jerry, maybe more so than any of the other core Muppet performers, is that he's a real chameleon, and that and that might actually be why he doesn't have a main character the way the other guys do. But if you weren't a Muppet scholar, it would be hard to really find, like, what is the commonality between Robin and Floyd and the Count and all the other Jerry characters, because they're each really distinct and fully formed, and other than that they share a little bit of the same vocal timbre, and even then, like, not they don't sound that much alike. Like, they really are very distinct and very fully formed, and Robin in particular, I think, doesn't rely on a particular archetype or stereotype of, like, he isn't like the annoying little boy who's always trying to get attention or getting in the way of things, or there's a couple times when he is frustrated because he can't do things that the older characters can do, but that's a plot moment, or that's not an overarching character defining trait. And I think that's part of what Jerry's able to do is to really make Robin feel like he has an ongoing life in between when we see him, and that he's not defined by any one moment.
Well said, David. I agree 100%. Yeah, he's a well-rounded little boy. And it also shows a lot of respect for what young people are going through in their lives, the character. It doesn't sort of diminish or minimize that at all, which is really, an interesting thing. The show has, the Muppet Show in a lot of ways is a show that has a lot of respect for humanity. And I think that Robin is a view into the window of which the show's writers and the puppeteers saw kids, which is kind of cool. This little contemplative, little kind of sometimes sassy, but a lot of times kind of quiet kid.
Yeah, he's guided not just by innocence, but by curiosity.
Yeah.
And I do think that is at the core ethos of how the Muppet team viewed kids.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what makes the Muppets really special in culture, is that is such a tricky intersection to nail, and it's really beautiful that they did that.
Yeah, I'd argue that the core Muppet performers maybe saw themselves in their portrayal of kids because they were sort of, say, moving through this art form, and a lot of them trying to move through their lives with that open curiosity. Like that's certainly something that Jim Henson talked about a lot. So it's kind of interesting. I really feel like Robin would have been nothing without Jerry Nelson. Do we have any favorite Jerry Nelson musical moments from his career? Because, you know, at the end of the day, he's as much of a musician as he was a performer. And are there moments that really stick out to us as being just like the classic must listen to Jerry Nelson Muppet tracks?
I have a whole playlist of Floyd songs that, I mean, it's hard to choose favorites.
What's one that if somebody was like, I want to listen to a Floyd song right now, what would you recommend?
I love his performance of Blackbird, even though
Yeah.
you will all disagree with me.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great. I don't disagree.
The rest of us disagreed
on our episode about it.
In a
But
recent episode, we disagreed about it.
his
Yeah.
While My Guitar Gently Weeps is so good.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, talking about like what a good singer Jerry was and his range, you know, everything in Emmett Otter
Oh my God, yeah,
is
right?
fantastic. And you know, and
Unbelievable.
I will stick up for Halfway Down the Stairs. You know, I it's just impressive that he can sing as Robin and he can sing as Floyd equally well most of the time.
And
Yeah,
look,
that
Halfway
range
Down
as
the
well.
Stairs was a hit single. It was the only hit
Yeah.
single to come out of the Muppet Show, and there's a reason for that, and that reason is Jerry Nelson.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And his performance in Muppet Christmas Carol, when I think about like the things that really moved me, it's a lot of the stuff that Robin sings, Bless Us All, and gosh, it's hard to narrow it down to just one or two things. Although I will give a shout out to the Robin performance of Octopus's Garden on Muppet Show.
Oh yeah.
It's good.
It's a really good one.
Any standout Fraggle tracks? I feel like he sings some really incredible
Wrong
songs on
crowd for that.
wrong crowd.
Yeah,
You guys
or
hate
not.
the Fraggles?
No, we just don't know the Fraggles.
You just don't know
Yeah.
the Fraggles. That's fair.
I have some favorite Fraggle songs, but I'm not well versed enough in the entire oeuvre. But I will say, Floyd does a rendition of "Ain't Misbehavin'" that I love.
Oh yeah,
great.
that one was great too.
And Sunny.
Well, thank you so much, Muppeturgy podcast crew, for being on this special little episode about Robin. Any final parting words about Robin the Frog that any of you want to offer to our beautiful listeners out there in podcast land?
He looks
know,
great in a purple wig.
Some of his early appearances, he was paired with Sweetums, and every once in a while we get a throwback to that, and I just would love to see more of that. I think they are a great pair. I think Muppets often work best as comedy duos, and the very little and the very big, like, who doesn't love that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great contrast. Oh, well, thank you guys so much. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having
Thanks for
us.
having
Thank
us.
you.
Absolutely. Thanks again to everyone at Muppeturgy for that fantastic conversation. And if you haven't heard Jerry Nelson's haunting version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps, I enthusiastically recommend it. What are you waiting for? I don't know if we can genuinely separate Robin from Jerry Nelson. Jerry gives Robin gentleness and sharpness, making Robin a character we want to keep returning to. For 70 years, 70 Muppets and Tough Pigs, I'm Louie Pearlman, sitting halfway up the stairs. We love you, our little frog prince.
70 Years, 70 Muppets is a Muppet Fan podcast presented by toughpigs.com, hosted by a whole myriad of people and edited by them as well. Produced by Jared Fairclough. The Muppet 70 logo used with permission by the Muppet Studio with thanks to Danny Iglesias, Frank Reich Snyder and Lee Slaughter. Don't forget to follow toughpigs.com on all social media platforms. You can support us by heading to patreon.com/toughpigs or buying a t-shirt at tpublic.com/toughpigs.